On today's show, a Philly native hints at potentially coming to Philly and playing for the Sixers. Also, Daryl Morey comments on officially signed PJ Tucker and a whole bunch more. We'll break it all down. Let's go.
Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome into Philly Take with RB. Like always, be sure to leave a like if you enjoy the content, subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos or live streams. We've been doing a ton of live streams, breaking down all the news that you need to know, so be sure to stay updated with the content. Today, we're back just for a quick video. Wanted to discuss some minor things and talk about a little bit of news that transpired as of yesterday. But we start off with something pretty hilarious to me, and that is the fact that the new Sixer, Daniel House, is rocking the 2.5. That's right, we have a new 2.5 in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as the 2.5 founder, as I like to refer to myself. Now, I'm just playing. But look, man, we had the 2.5 movement going on. Hopefully, it doesn't ever get back to that point. I don't ever want to have to, look at that number in a bad light again. And hopefully this is some, refreshed energy. Hopefully this is just a new sense of that number. Now, it is pretty interesting. Daniel House, a guy who is known to be kind of a two-way player, can knock down some shots, can provide some depth at the forward position. That's why Daryl Morey went out and got his guy. Let's just say there have been some negative associations with that player that used to wear 2.5, and look at a guy like Nick Castellanos with the Phillies. There's just been some bad juju. Okay, hopefully Daniel House can break the streak and can come out and be a successful player for the Philadelphia 76ers. Very interesting though that he decided to go with that number, but it is pretty funny. People have been hitting me up on Twitter and they said, yo, we have a new 2.5 in the house. And that is true, no pun intended, in the house. But anyway, getting to what we actually need to discuss today. Yesterday, Markieff Morris, the Philly native, goes on Twitter, and shout out to our guy Romp, put out a tweet just discussing Markieff Morris and talking about the injury that transpired last year. If you don't recall, Markieff Morris was shoved by Nikola Jokic, and they had the whole thing. I forget, did Jokic get a game suspension for that? I think he did. And they had that whole thing, and really Markieff Morris went silent. He went AWOL for like 5 months, and they were like, where is this guy? He's nowhere to be found. They had the whole thing with the brothers going on, and he really didn't come back and play consistently. And a lot of people were frustrated about that, saying, yo, like, this guy, you could have just ended his potential career. You could have screwed up his future contracts. And that's what Romp was talking about in this tweet. And it just so happens that Markieff Morris goes ahead and replies to Romp. And he says, I'm a free agent by choice, kid. Nobody's stopping this show. I got you. I'm going to sign soon. And shout out to our guy, Romp, who replies with a classic tweet. He says, hey, come to Philly. Come to Philly, just like a pure Sixers fan would. And shout out to Markieff, man. This is how you can tell he's from Philly. He gets it. He understands it. And he comes back and replies, been wanting to for a while now. So, hey, man, I mean, I don't know if there's any talks ongoing. I don't know how this is playing out. Maybe, he has a couple rumored teams, couple interested teams. It has been reported that a couple contenders are looking into Markieff Morris. And as a guy who's 33 years old, he's been around the way, right? He's played on some different teams. He's a true veteran in this league, not your, star by any means, not your above average player, just your typical role player. He came in as a first-round pick back in 2011 alongside his brother, Markieff Morris, the twin. And, I'm sure it's safe to say that Markieff Morris ended up as, a better player than his brother, but that doesn't mean Markieff Morris can't play. Now, I don't think he's some highly coveted player on the market right now, but just the fact that he replied and said, he's willing to come to Philadelphia. He's, interested in coming back to play for his hometown. This is where his origins were, right? He understands the culture. And speaking of culture, that's exactly what we're trying to build here. Now, when I think about Markieff Morris, he played last year on a 1-year deal for a vet's minimum of around $2.6 million. Could he be had again for a minimum? Well, I think that's eventually what he's going to sign for. And I think, eventually he'll end up picking up a contract, like he said, I don't think it'll be anything crazy. And again, he has to prove himself because he didn't really play last year. He's had a couple injuries over the years. At the end of the day, he's a guy who will shoot around mid-30s from deep. You know, he can grab you a couple boards. He's a decent defender. He can switch, play against a couple different positions. At the end of the day, is it a guy I'm sweating over? No. Is it a guy I'm going to lose sleep over? No. But would it be nice to have another dog? The Morris brothers are known as those type of players, and based on what the Sixers are trying to build here, especially after going out in the playoffs and admitting that they were weak mentally, you know, they go and pick up PJ Tucker, they get Daniel House, they get some of these dog type of players, Anthony Melton, all right, and they're trying to add and reshape the culture a little bit, and Markieff Morris is known as that type of guy. Now, as a 4, he would have to come in and be a decent rebounder, right? That's what we would need. In fact, you know, if he's not doing that, why go ahead and pick him up, right? Why not give the nod to some of the young guys like a Paul Reed, like a Charles Bassey? Why not let them get, you know, their feet wet and hopefully consistently grow, because that's what we're going to need from some of those guys in their second and third years. But, you know, given the rumored interest, maybe you could have him at a minimum. And right now, really the holdup is we're waiting to see what James Harden's contract will look like. The specifics, obviously the Sixers are hard capped, so they don't have a lot of flexibility, but it all depends on what James Harden takes this year. And Markieff Morris could potentially be had for a vet's minimum. The question is, do you need a guy like that? Do you want a guy like that? I think we've already upgraded with PJ Tucker. And given the fact Markieff Morris is a below average shooter, I don't know how much good he would do. But what I do know is he would help, you know, consistently evolve this culture that we're trying to breed here. And it would just be another dog to have off the bench. He could probably play 10, 15 minutes a night, and you could give him a shot. Maybe he doesn't even make the team. Who knows? But definitely something to keep your eye on. And who knows? He wants to come back. He wants to play for Philly. And you know this fan base would welcome a dog just like him. Now, the other thing we want to discuss today is Daryl Morey, just highlighting his, you know, thoughts on PJ Tucker. Of course, he's ecstatic to have him back. And really, you know, despite what anybody says, this was a good quality signing for Daryl Morey. He went out, he didn't waste any time, he got the business done. I would actually expect some tampering talks to come up, but then again, everybody at this point is tampering. What is tampering? I mean, we knew weeks ago before free agency that PJ Tucker was likely going to be a Sixer, and you know, despite what you think, Daryl Morey, even though he might have overpaid a little bit, he went out and got one of the top names on the market. I mean, I was just listening to Miami Heat, you know, Pat Riley, Jimmy Butler, some of the things they've said about PJ Tucker. He's just a guy you want in your locker room, and he adds in every single way the Sixers are looking to upgrade this season, whether it comes to shooting, whether it comes to attitude, things like that. He's a scrappy defender. It's what we needed, and Daryl Morey got it done, and I'm happy about it, despite the figures. But here's what Morey had to say officially after the Tucker signing was announced. Daryl Morey says, PJ Tucker is one of the most respected and relentless competitors in our game, and is the type of competitor our fans will love and embrace. We're excited to add his leadership, toughness, defensive versatility, and championship pedigree to our roster. I think that sums it up absolutely perfect. And that's really what we're getting. And I think he's going to make an impact. And, you know, you saw him partying in the Hamptons with Joel Embiid and James Harden. You can already see the chemistry, right? Harden wanted his guy. I'm sure he gave him a phone call. I'm sure Daryl Morey gave him a phone call. Said, yo, we need you back, man. We're trying to reshape this team similar to the Rockets team, and we need you, right? We need you. You've been around. You've won a championship now. We need you back. Here's another quote from Daryl Morey about PJ Tucker. He says, PJ wants to deliver an NBA title to Philadelphia, and his work ethic and mentality make him an impactful addition to our team and city. I can tell you right now, this city is going to absolutely love PJ Tucker. There will be nights where he struggles and goes 1 for 8 from the field. We'll hate him, you know, we'll probably talk bad about him, but at the end of the day, come playoff time, when it matters, he will be a significant upgrade to what we have had. And, you know, he's not going to just bow down and go out without any pride, man. He is going to show up and really make a difference with this team with his voice and really getting these guys up, man. And he's familiar with a lot of these new players, and I just think it's a perfect fit. And I'm happy about it. I think PJ Tucker is going to make an impact. But that is where we stand today. Still waiting to see what the James Harden contract will be. That's really the next stepping stone here. Other than that, not too much going on other than Summer League. And, you know, we'll keep you up to date with everything that is going on. We'll see what happens with the roster, who's going to make it. Give me all your thoughts down below in the description. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And like always, I will catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect. Perfect.